Hey, this is MassX with a brand new, I guess we'll just call it monthly revenue video. Gonna talk about what I think are the best and worst games that came out in this first quarter. Most of them should show up in here, good, bad, ugly, but we will focus on, of course, the stuff I cover, stuff I'm interested in. But you should definitely support if you're interested in this type of information. GotchaRevenue.com. They post in Reddit, but there's also a web page that's actually got more information than you could ever want. But let's get started. We don't need to talk about the standards, the Honkai Star Rail. Oh my God, 96 million. That is just disturbingly wrong. Love in Deep Space is supposed to be a phenomenal husbando game, but it'll probably never see the light of day in global, as well as Naruto Mobile. But let's go ahead and get to the stuff that I want to talk about. One of the first ones I want to talk about that I don't actually normally talk about on my channel is, of course, Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade. Hasn't come out globally yet. I really think it's a licensing issue. I'm not sure if we'll ever see it globally. I actually still play the game. I just don't really do videos on it because it's Japan only. You have to use VPN to play it, but if you're a fan of the IP, it follows the story to a T. And yeah, it has its issues with content. They're kind of slow rolling stuff out. That's actually really why you see it drop from 8 million to 2.8. They just haven't had much content in the last 4 to 5 weeks. Now there's a big push coming now though, and my guess is that's going to take a big jump. But if you're interested, leave a comment. I'll go ahead and start doing videos on this again and can kind of walk everybody through again how to play the game. I have an old video from when it first came out that I did put out on it, but yeah, I like the game a lot. A lot of people don't. You either love it or hate it, but again, it's the JJK, come on, what can I say? Now you're gonna see here one that I think is actually, and could be single-handedly the best game in the first quarter of 2024, and that's AFK Journey. In a week's time, I don't even know if it's been a whole week, 2.6 million, which is gonna be great. That means it will probably be clocking in over 10 million or more globally. I think the game is phenomenal. I've done a couple videos on it. It is the most creative and best use of an idle game, but it's not an idle game. Again, I think it's phenomenal. If you are a AFK Arena fan, those characters and all that, you would probably really like it just because now you get more story and immersiveness. But the game itself, AFK Journey, is just, to me, one of the top-notch games of 2024. It might be my favorite game of this first quarter of this year. One that I track all the time, and I've talked about it before, is Black Clover Mobile. And the problem with Black Clover Mobile right now is it's getting scary, and let me show you why. These are the figures looking at Black Clover Mobile, and oof, okay, this is rough, okay? So you're starting in November, it's the end of the month, can't count that. Then you have a huge 17 million for your first month. Awesome, crazy good, gotta love it. The devs have to be absolutely ecstatic because, let's be honest, the game is an absolute flop everywhere else, okay? It doesn't even break 500K in Japan or Korea. It's DOA everywhere else. They finally released it globally. And, the surprise of the year is global supporting this game. That's normally not how it works. Most games globally do not make the lion's share of their revenue on global. It's usually China, it's usually Japan, it's usually Korea, not the US, Europe, etc. We, just like how they develop anime, etc., don't consider us the market to make the money in. We're the market to go to once everything is wrapping up, or they just want to bring in a little bit more revenue. And again, 3, 4, 5, 10 extra million is not little to me, but to them, if a game's bringing in 15, 20 million just in Japan, and it's bringing another, 10 to 15 in China, global is global. They treat us with disrespect, but problem is it dropped to 5 million. That's okay. You expect that. Okay. There's a big rush at the beginning. Then it dropped to 4 million. And now this past month, it's down to 2 million. That is getting scary because the game isn't cheap. And yeah, this is worrisome. This is not a game that can live on a couple $100,000, server costs, development, etc. Big worries because Global's got to support this. So, and if you play the game, and I still do, they are just finding any way to monetize things in that game. And some of their choices are just horrific. The release of banners, oh my God. I know they need money. I'm sure they're trying to get their investors completely paid off. Or if they have by now, they're at least trying to get profit into the company. But man, they've made some bad choices, at least in my opinion. But yeah, if you are a fan of Black Clover Mobile, you got to start to get worried now. Now, it's just, if it drops again next month, I'd be very scared. Also on this page are some games I still play. I've talked about before. Blue Archive, it dropped from 6 million to 1.7 million in global, but they've been doing a lot of rerun banners. They have a collab coming, and they've just put some fantastic banners up now with 2 new characters, as well as some amazing rerun characters. So, it just keeps plugging away. I have no worries about that one. Azur Lane, at least for purposes of China, 2.7, 1.9. That game ain't going anywhere. Best free-to-play game out there. Absolutely fun to play. I still play it. It's not something I do on the channel because I just kind of play it for fun here and there. But I keep my account, and and again, you guys know I will go ahead and support a game, but I can't even find areas to support outside of costumes in Azur Lane because they're so free-to-play friendly. You get what you need. It's insane after you get your account going. Another game that I like to follow because I play it is Grand Summoners. Went up a little bit for purposes of global to 1 million. That game too just keeps plugging away. They just are doing right now a Fairy Tail rerun collaboration. They're the king of collaborations. They've done them all. And I'm not giving up on this game until I see my rerun of Yu Yu Hakusho or a completely brand new one. Echocalypse is the Scarlet Covenant, is a game I do cover on the channel a lot. I've enjoyed it, but it has been having a slow falling off. It went from 1.1 million to 900,000. There's been a lot of discontent between the community and the developers. They finally came out and spoke up. I didn't do a video on it because honestly, I don't like to just bash the bash, but I wasn't overly impressed in what they stated, but only time will tell. They keep holding in, and I think that game's not going anywhere if it still can stay in that 1 million area. They can occasionally drop to 800, 900,000. But the game is a port over from a game that's been around for quite some time overseas. So the costs on that one is much lower, as well as the other versions of the game are still going on top of it. One of 2 biggest disappointments, I would say, of early 2024 first quarter is Devil May Cry Peak Combat. They overly monetized that game and really took a game that was pretty fun. It had its issues, but made it just so overly monetized that you just cannot stand playing it. And honestly, they get what they deserve. I mean, they're actually making more than I figured, 600 grand, but I know that game had to cost a pretty penny, as well as the IP itself. So yeah, I'm not sure how long that game's gonna last. Atelier was a game I was covering on my channel for a little bit, but I had to stop playing, not because I didn't like the game. I think the game is actually fun. I think it plays well, but I just have too much going on and I couldn't keep up with it. And that one is just, they've made some poor choices. They've already dropped from 900 to 400, only a few months being open. Yes, there's another version of the game open over in Japan, but yeah, that one's gonna have a rough ride, and it's a shame because it's a good game if you are into that IP or you're into that style of game. Now, probably the biggest disappointment, at least to me, because I was so psyched for this game. I played the beta, thought it was absolutely a blast for 7 days or however long it was. Really enjoyed it, and that was One Punch Man World. But the problem came on 2 fronts. The first front, very, very bad monetization choices early on. And 2, well, the game you found, as fun as it would be for 7 days, it's not so fun on day 14, 15, 18, 22, and quite honestly, boring and monotonous, at least to me at times. So I bounced from that game after just a couple weeks. This thing will probably be the first major shutdown of this year. I don't know how it's going to keep going. It went from 1.3 million for its first month, which is shockingly horrible, to 270,000. The press they've gotten, the drama in the background from investors and prior people that worked on them that have released stuff, blogs, articles. It's a cluster F, and I don't see how this game is going to survive. I really don't. Those investors are going to take a major hit. But yeah, to me, One Punch Man World is probably the single biggest disappointment of first quarter 2024. I mean, right there on these charts, just take a look. I was talking about Black Clover Mobile earlier. Just look at what it's doing in other countries. 120,000. That ain't even your server cost. It is an absolute scary proposition if Global can't keep this game going. So that's about it for going over this. Of course, for you people that watch videos on One Punch Man the Strongest, you're not going to see that on here. That game makes a couple $100 grand. People say, oh no, but it's going to shut down then. No. We're like the 3rd or 4th time this game has been released. The cost is next to nothing. They don't have to do jack to keep this running. The server costs are lower. Why? Because it's not one of these brand new open world spanking games. Everything they make on this game is absolute gravy for them. So that game ain't going anywhere, nor are you going to see it on charts because it's that low. And some of the other newer stuff that I'm playing, like the new Fairy Tail game, isn't going to show up. It's a port over from a Chinese version of the game that's been around for quite some time. I'll be interested to see what a full month's worth of figures are on the game, and if I can't find them on Gacha Revenue, I'll just pull them up from Sensor Tower. But yeah, and I'll talk about that next month. But again, another game with a very low cost. But yeah, so that's it. Let me know what you think your biggest disappointment is of 2024. I definitely think it's One Punch Man World without a doubt. I just think that one is just scary on the ineptitude of everything they did for that game once they launched it. And again, I'm gonna probably hold pat. I think AFK Journey could be one of the coolest, most fun, innovative games that has come out this quarter, if it's in your wheelhouse. Again, I mean, some people are just never, everybody's got their own taste, but I play it on my computer, I play it on my phone, I play it on my tablet. It's one of those games that you can play 10 minutes or you can play an hour or two, and it's enjoyable in all different types of formats, which is great, especially landscape mode on the computer. It's just absolutely awesome. So with that, as always, please like and subscribe. It helps a lot. Have a great day.